Wow, no.
Start in a moment with the chanting. Is that other man coming?
Yeah, he said he was. I mentioned to him just a minute ago. Go closer if you want so you can see better. He's going to put a switch on the screen. Yeah.
Watch it at home all the time.
Right.
Yeah. It's this.
Okay, friends, so we'll go ahead and start with reciting the Namo Tassa and the three refuges for those who would like to join. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. So good evening, everybody, for this evening's Dhamma discussion and meditation practice. So this week we're going to continue, or maybe finishing or continuing the discussion on the last three steps of the Noble Eightfold Path. So in the last week, we were going over the right speech, right action, and right livelihood, which are the main steps of the Eightfold Path that we practice in our daily life, dealing with our, body, speech, and mind, and refraining from those negative actions that bring most of our kind of guilt, worry, remorse, and fear, and and other types of agitations, the ones that keep our hindrances strong. So now we're going to go on to the right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, which are usually considered to be the actual practice of meditation. So I'm going to now share the screen. Hopefully it will work out all right. No, see, the same thing happened like last week. It's not there. I had it saved on this the browser. It's always happened. I don't know why. I don't want to share this YouTube thing. What do you think? It happened last time too.
You said it's in the browser.
Yeah, it was.
I wonder if the right tab is selected in the browser.
Oh, here it is.
See, you know, okay.
Good.
So what do
Okay. Okay, friends. What is the right effort? Or effort to learn how to use these high-tech gadgets. Okay, so what is right effort? There's 4 aspects of right effort. The desire to prevent unarisen, evil, unwholesome states arising in the mind. So it's the effort to prevent unwholesome states of mind. That means any of the 10 unwholesome karmas or thoughts. He makes an effort, arouses energy, applies the mind, and strives. And then there's the person generates desire for the abandoning of arisen evil, unwholesome states. So we're going along in life and we're not having any negative thoughts in our mind, but then something may come up that all of a sudden triggers off some anger in your mind or for resentment from some person. It could be just a sound or any other kind of thing, or you see a photo of somebody and immediately thoughts might pop into your mind. So it's the effort, if there are unwholesome thoughts connected with greed, hatred, and delusion, then the effort not to indulge them. And then you generate the desire for the arising of unarisen, unwholesome states. Wait a minute. Unarisen, wholesome states there. So he makes the effort to abandon or to prevent the unwholesome states from arising. But if they do arise, we generate the effort to drive them out of the mind. And we generate the effort to practice the increase of wholesome states. And then a person generates desire for the maintenance of arisen wholesome states, for their increase, expansion, and fulfillment. It makes an effort, arouses energy, applies the mind, and strives. This is called right effort. So those 4 right efforts are very specific to prevent negative states from entering your mind. And there's different ways you do that. One is by having mindfulness, but also to avoid going to places that would trigger off unwholesome states. So visiting places that might, or looking at books or any other types of things, or meeting people with unwholesome people that might get you into an argument where you might get upset or angry and so on. So this is also included in some other practice of the dealing with the Sabhasava Sutta that we'll talk about later. So it's abandoning those unwholesome states that arise, whether you're sitting in meditation or just in your daily life. And it could be the effort to simply look away. Let's say you are looking at some object that triggered off lust in your mind. Then make an effort, look away. Don't keep looking at it. If you know you have a weakness for that. Or other types of, you have to know your own self and know the tendencies that often arise from time to time, and then make the effort to, prevent getting in situations where those states still arise in you. But if they do arise, then the effort not to entertain them, but to drive them out of the mind. By creating the opposite. So if all of a sudden you started thinking ill will about some person that you maybe don't like, then to drive that out, you can substitute that thought with a wholesome thought, like practice metta, thinking, may that person be free from their greed, hatred, and delusion. May they be free from, their suffering. Because if they were, then they probably wouldn't do things that cause us, suffering or to arouse negative thoughts. And then, so that's dealing with the negative thoughts, to prevent them and then for abandoning them if they do arise. Because until you reach the state of a once returner or a never returner, you can't really prevent them because the underlying unconscious roots are still there. So it says we try to prevent them, but they're going to arise when the roots are still there. So the abandoning them when they do arise, the effort. A lot of people, like when you go to sleep in meditation, you're nodding out, so you have a hindrance, and some people like that, it's kind of so they don't arouse effort to overcome it, I've mentioned many times, I see people nodding out in meditation. I said, please stand up. They keep on just nodding out like this. Oh, things like that, So you have to make the effort to try to overcome those negative states. Again, by substituting the negative thoughts for positive thoughts, or other things that will help overcome, especially those hindrances. And then you generate the desire to increase those wholesome states. So let's say the desire for unarisen wholesome states. So let's say you're kind of lazy and you don't meditate every day, just once in a while. And because of that, your meditation kind of stagnates. It doesn't really improve very much. So you got to generate that effort to overcome that laziness, to maybe get up a little bit earlier in the morning, or to meditate 1 or 2 more times a week, some kind of efforts. Because if you don't, then progress is not going to be very likely. So that's why those efforts to cultivate wholesome states that we don't yet have, and repeating them often so that they become strong and more habitual, so that you don't have to kind of think about it much. So that's called the right effort. Now, apart from those right efforts, it's basically the effort to practice all of the above. That means the effort to practice right view. That means, read suttas, try to read a sutta every day or 2, or, listen to more, Dhamma broadcasts and so on. So, or the effort to practice friendliness and so on. Anyway, so the effort to cultivate right view, the effort to cultivate right intention, and then, of course, the right speech, right action. Because nothing is gotten without effort. You know, in some kind of Dhamma groups, people say, "Oh, you don't need to make effort. Just relax, and your karma will work out. It'll come to you naturally." Okay, well, knock on wood. Lots of luck. Okay. Well, anyway, it would take a lot longer. So, the right effort is one of the mental factors that's often repeated in every list of wholesome qualities. And basically, it's the right effort to practice meditation, which is the next one. So, right mindfulness. And what is right mindfulness? Well, it's basically practicing the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Contemplating the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. And he dwells contemplating feelings in feelings. I mean, this kind of the body in the body. There's different ways that translators have translated these kind of terms. But contemplating the body in the body, that means you have this larger outer body, but you have the sensations, the subtler body sensations inside that larger body. So that can be one way of understanding this this phrase, contemplating the body in the body, like in your body, not other people's bodies. But that's another aspect of the mindfulness, external, contemplating externally. And removing covetousness and displeasure, in whether you have it for your body or other people's bodies, and just you understand that the body is simply a body. And we have to live in this body to practice Dhamma, and you develop this non-attachment to it. Of course, the contemplating the body has those various aspects of mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of your posture, mindfulness of movements, mindfulness of the 32 body parts, and mindfulness of the 4 elements, and even mindfulness of the process of decay. So all these are aspects of the mindfulness of the body. And so mindfulness of breathing helps to develop concentration. Mindfulness of the 4 postures helps to develop present moment awareness, and also of the movements of the body. Mindfulness of the 32 body parts, seeing how they decay and are subject to impermanence and decay. And, this body has a lot of foul odors, and we cling to the body only when we doll it up and, paint it with cosmetics and keep it clean. But, if you don't wash this body for several days or a week, it starts to, have odors, or you don't clean your mouth, you have bad breath. And so this body needs a lot of work. And so it's understanding this idea of this body, we need it to practice Dhamma, but it's not something to crave or desire necessarily. And we only see the outer aspects of people's bodies. When we look at people, the main thing we see, oh, what beautiful hair they have, what beautiful skin they have, what beautiful eyes they have, what nice, beautiful teeth. But look at what our people are doing. They're spending billions of dollars on cosmetics, fixing their teeth, trying to make them white, pure white, and so many other things, remove the wrinkles, color the hair so they don't turn gray. So they live in a false world. They're trying to deny the reality of old age and death. And so when people get, older, they start, want to dye their hair so it doesn't look gray. or they exhibit old age. So this is part of that contemplating the body in the body, removing the covetousness and displeasure in regard to the body and the world at large. And then contemplating feelings and feelings, pleasant, painful, and neutral feelings that arise within this body and mind. And then contemplating the mind states that arise, all the different states of mind. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're angry, sometimes you're happy, various emotions. You kind of try to identify, oh, the mind is getting angry now. Okay, so you can try to observe it, apply the antidote to not getting carried away into it. And then the last part of the mindfulness of the body contemplation is the contemplating the what is called Dhammanupassana, which is also usually translated here in this particular translation, contemplating phenomena in phenomena. Now that, for a lot of people that might be kind of vague, but basically means mental states or mental formations, so anything that's created within the mind. But usually it's our types of thoughts and emotions and habits, the ways of even the habits of our body and so on. So those four foundations of mindfulness, that's what is included in right mindfulness. And so it's done all throughout the day, not just in meditation. Now in meditation, you can kind of develop stronger concentration and develop awareness of subtler sensations and subtler thoughts. But during the day, we can be aware of the more external type of things. And then also part of this foundations of mindfulness, we didn't read the whole the mindfulness discourse here, but it's also contemplating the body internally and externally, contemplating feelings internally and externally, both internally and externally. Or after contemplating, you just think, oh, okay, there is this body, but just for mindfulness, to develop mindfulness and concentration, not to, create other feelings about it. And the same for feelings. There are these feelings, there are these mental states, but you're not getting led by and carried away by those feelings. And of course, it's also contemplating how they arise and pass away. So part of this contemplation of the body and feelings, how do these feelings arise? How do they arise? They arise from contact. When a sound touches your ear, then you're hearing and a feeling. You either like it or don't like the sound or a visible object. And so it's because of contact and it's because of attention that you give to the object that these feelings get stuck in your mind and that you take them for self. Oh, this is me, this is mine, that's my feeling. Instead, you develop that sort of detached awareness to them. You know that they're just basically products and creations of our past karma and ignorance. So this is a part of that kind of right understanding. So all of that is part of developing right mindfulness. And then the last of these the Eightfold Path, is the right concentration. Now, it's interesting. Right concentration comes as the eighth step. So a lot of people, they just want to practice concentration without even bothering with the first steps. And that's why they fail, most of them. So there's other sutras that talk about that, the whole Eightfold Path is meditation, actually. But anyway, so the right concentration basically, as you can read it, it's basically entering into the jhanas. So the first jhana, you can read what the jhana factors are, the second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana. Basically, these arise from the practice of mindfulness. That's why mindfulness comes first. Without mindfulness and right view, probably the ability to attain these jhanas is not going to happen because the right view, the practicing sila and practicing right mindfulness are what allows our mind to become more calm and peaceful with less guilt, worry, remorse, and fear. That's why when you do sit down to meditate, you can much more easily gain that concentration to enter those jhanas. But if a person just sits down and thinks that they're going to concentrate, but without creating the right conditions, then that's why people get frustrated and that it takes them so long to gain concentration. The Buddha mentioned all these 8 steps of the Eightfold Path because it's like one step leads to another. If you have 8 rocks across a river, you have to step on one to reach the next one in the deeper part of the river, and then the next one. The step leads you to the next step. So in the same way, this Eightfold Path, there's a reason the Buddha put them in this order. So that right concentration actually should be a natural next step once one has practiced these other steps. You gain concentration through practicing mindfulness. A lot of people make a difference between concentration and mindfulness. Now, you could make a difference if you want, but basically there's 2 types of concentration. One is called the Samadhi Pubangama Vipassana, which means gaining concentration before practicing developing wisdom. And the other is developing Vipassana before gaining Samadhi. That means by practicing mindfulness and removing the hindrances, by practicing the right effort, and removing the hindrances, being mindful, because that's what blocks our concentration are the hindrances, because we're not mindful of them. So a person goes to sleep in a meditation and they're not mindful, and they wind up spending half the meditation period with the chin on their chest, or all slouched down, lost in thoughts, because they haven't developed that mindfulness. So anyway, so by practicing mindfulness, actually there's another form of gaining concentration, which is called the Vipassana jhana. So by practicing Vipassana or mindfulness, and you develop what is called moment-to-moment mindfulness, you become aware of anything that's happening through your body and mind, and being able to let them go. And the mind enters the flow of the present moment, moments of hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, and thinking, but without getting caught into them. And you enter that flow of present moment awareness. That is a jhana. How other people may argue about that, but that is anyway the method of the Vipassana Pubangama Samadhi. That means by developing mindfulness and wisdom, you gain the Samadhi because you suppress the hindrances and the mind becomes focused in the present moment. And the present moment is a kind of a one-pointedness. The mind becomes resting in the present moment. Thoughts and feelings and sounds and smells are coming and going, but the mind is not moving. It's resting in the present moment. So that's a kind of, they're called vipassana jhana. Anyway, so friends, that is basically what I wanted to go over tonight. And now to see if anybody has any questions on specifically these three. Well, before we finish on this, I want to, the Eightfold Path, again, as I've already mentioned, is divided into three subgroups. And right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration belong to the group called samadhi, which means jhana, but mindfulness is included within that. So sila, samadhi, and panya are how normally people divide these steps of the Eightfold Path into these three groups. Wisdom being right view and right thought, the sila is right speech, right action, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Or panya, wisdom, is comprised of right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So now I'm going to go back to the chat and see if, okay, so there's a question in the chat box. Okay, I'm going to now go back to stop sharing the screen and go back to our normal screen. Okay, this question is walking meditation as good as sitting meditation for practicing vipassana? Well, it depends. Now, each walking, sitting, and standing postures for meditation give a different type of experience. Now, for a person who has difficulty sitting, then standing may be less painful. Or people who have more trouble with sleepiness, then standing and walking is good because you're not apt to go to sleep while standing and walking because of the fear of, falling down. So, but walking meditation helps to bring that mindfulness into activity too. So that's why, it's not one is necessarily better than the other. But so that's why normally in a retreat, people would practice all three. So like in the retreats that I lead here, we sit for, a period of time, and then I just don't people, okay, now take a break and go off. And I say, no, first mindfully unfold your legs, stand up, and we stand for at least 1 minute before rushing off to do something. Because standing can be very powerful, but people never don't think about it because they've been sitting for a long time. So now they're ready to rock and roll, right? And so they jump up and start moving. But instead, whenever you finish meditation, you should just stand up first, slowly, stand for a minute, do an M&M, be aware of what you're going to do, and then start walking, and then do some walking meditation, and then other things. But it's good to not just get up immediately and start moving after meditation, but take it slowly into activity and then gradually increase your speed if you have to, do things. So could you please explain again the difference between mindfulness of mind and phenomena? Well, actually, the mindfulness of the mind, if you read the sutta, it means you identify states of mind, like with greed. You understand, oh, greed or lust is in my mind now. And how did this lust arise? Well, because you, for whatever reason, there could be a reason. You saw a photo, or a thought came in about your friend and you desire arose, or whatever, or aversion. So you simply identify the mental state. The mind is concentrated now. Let's say you're meditating and all of a sudden you realize, oh, you're quite concentrated. So now the mind is concentrated. And at another time, the mind is not concentrated. So you can see the difference between a concentrated mind and an unconcentrated mind, or a mind that's, contracted, or a mind that's expanded. Let's say if you're involved in just worrying about yourself, oh, woe with me, oh, my problems. That means your mind is contracted. It's contracted around yourself. But at other times, when you're in a state of free flow awareness, the mind becomes very expansive without any of those thoughts. So you see the difference. So it's recognizing the difference between the various states of mind, especially the unwholesome ones and the wholesome ones. You understand a concentrated mind is concentrated. But if you're sitting there always looking at what time is it, when's it's going to be over, and moving around, then the mind is not concentrated. So you simply identify it, and so that you can apply the appropriate antidote, especially to overcome the negative state. So that's the mindfulness of the mind, the chitta-nupassana, the third foundation of mindfulness. Now the fourth foundation of mindfulness is mental formations. Now that includes more than just the mind. That includes, there's categories of the mental objects. The first one is the 5 hindrances. So you're aware when any of the 5 hindrances is in you, and you know when the 5 hindrances are not in you. You know how the hindrances arise, and you know how the hindrances are overcome. So that's contemplating these phenomena. These phenomena are the 5 hindrances. Now, they're mental states too, but they're different from just a mind state, kind of, or at least that's how the sutra is depicting it. And then the next category, there's 5 categories of mental phenomena. The 5 hindrances, and then the 5 aggregates, then the 6-fold sense sphere, and then the 7 factors of enlightenment. And then the last one is the granddaddy of them all, the 4 noble truths. So those are included in what is called the mental objects, in the strict definition of the Satipatthana Sutta. But you see, that comes at the end. A lot of people want to just jump to the end again and mindfulness abide. No, I want to go directly to the mind. But the Buddha listed these things in order because that's the natural order of how they're gradually developed. You can't just immediately go to the mind and so on for most people. So, because the mind operates through the body. So first you get centered and grounded in the body, detached from the various pains and movements, and gain some concentration. Then you can observe the feelings without getting distracted. You can endure pain a lot longer than normal. Or you can know a pleasant feeling but not get carried away and thinking about it and craving it. And then that leads to the mind, and the feelings are what trigger off our mind states. And while you're practicing mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feelings, and mindfulness of the mind, you're gaining concentration all that time. You're gaining concentration. So then the first of those phenomena is the 5 aggregates, and it's easy to overcome those 5 aggregates. it's easier to overcome the 5 hindrances. And when you overcome the 5 hindrances, you gain jhana. And that's why then you can contemplate the 5 aggregates, because there are subtler phenomena: form, feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness. And so this is the vipassana jhana. Now you're practicing vipassana. Vipassana jhana occurs when you're practicing the 4th foundation of mindfulness, because you've attained jhana by suppressing the 5 hindrances, and then the aggregates become very clear, the mind becomes very bright and clear, and you can contemplate how they're impermanent and no self. And the same for the 6 sense folds, the 6 senses. And while you're doing that, you gain the enlightenment factors. And then finally, at the end, you enter the stream by realizing the 4 noble truths. That's the path. It's very clearly laid out in the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Unfortunately, most people don't read it fully and practice it in kind of, the way that will lead to that deepening experience. Okay. Are the phenomena similar to dhammas? Yes, that's why it's called Dhammanupassana. So that Dhammanupassana is the 4th foundation of mindfulness. Now within that Dhammanupassana, some translators have called that contemplation of mental objects, but I prefer to leave it as Dhamma, because if you examine it, all those 5 categories are the main Dhamma the Buddha taught. He taught 5 hindrances, you have to overcome them. He taught contemplating the 5 aggregates, because that's the leads to the insights and the 6 senses. And while doing that, you develop the enlightenment factors. And the enlightenment factors, that's why they call them enlightenment factors. Now they're strong. The enlightenment factor of mindfulness isn't ordinary mindfulness. The enlightenment factor of energy isn't ordinary energy. It's on a whole nother level, because you've attained jhana. That's the main the kind of the missing link, because people kind of downplay those things. But anyway, so I prefer to leave the 4th foundation of mindfulness as Dhammanupassana, contemplation of Dhamma, because that's Dhamma. Mental objects, it becomes confusing for people. Or phenomena, contemplating phenomena. What is phenomena? I mean, unless you've taken physics or chemistry, what are phenomena, Okay. But, again, that's how different people translate, but different types of translations can lead to different types of understanding. Okay, friends. So are there any other questions anybody likes to ask? Okay, so I think then, because it's already getting late.
I have one.
Okay, it seems we have a question from one of the persons who are staying here with me at Lion of Wisdom for some time. What's your question, please?
It is you're talking about the concentration and sati and concentration, but there's also, I know all these things are linked to some extent, but
You got to speak louder. These people are not going to be able to hear you.
Continuing in interest in the Dhamma, the Shraddha or the interest in the Dhamma to practice is also fundamental to lead one to mindfulness and concentration.
Yeah, but the interest comes from developing the mindfulness. That's how you get interested. Wow, what's next? Wow, I'm seeing something new. You're experiencing subtler and subtler vibrations. You're getting insights. That's the interest. Because in the enlightenment factors, mindfulness comes first, then investigation of Dhamma, then energy, because you get the energy comes from investigating or experiencing something new, like attaining jhana. You get excited. Wow, I finally attained concentration. So your interest, your enthusiasm, your determination, gets stronger. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of things can be said on these things, but I think we will stop there because we still want to have a good meditation period, do a little bit of yoga and then some meditation. Try to see if we can get some interest in that. Okay, we'll meet back in a few minutes. Okay, friends, so try to stand straight. So relax your shoulders and arms at the sides. Gently close your eyes. Feel your feet pressing the floor. Feel your arms and hands hanging at the sides. Feel the clothing touching the skin, your arms, chest. And feel your head balanced on top of the neck. You keep your chin lifted up level with the floor. Feel your eyes in the sockets. From that point on the eyes, just try to feel the general outline of the standing body. Sense of the head on top, arms at the sides, clothing touching the skin, feet pressing the floor. Just try to hold that outline of the standing body in the mind's eye. If you can't feel the whole body, just feel one or other parts of it. And then begin some deep, slow breathing. Try to take 2 or 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage and upper chest. Feel the expansion in your upper chest. Hold the air in 2 seconds. Then slowly breathe out. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Then the next in breath. Just take a few more breaths like that. Developing this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath a second. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to combine this breathing with these movements. We do the movement while breathing in, holding a position for 2 seconds, returning to the starting point on the out breath, repeating each one 3 times. The whole time, just try to feel the different sensations generated by the breathing, the stretching. So on the next in-breath, raise your arms over the head, interlock your fingers, turn the palms up, straighten your arms, stretch up, look up at the back of your hands, and release your fingers on the out-breath, arms back to the sides. Feel the air go out as the arms come down. And again, in-breath. Interlock the fingers, stretch up, bend back a little bit, feel the arch in the spine. Out breath, arms back to the sides. Once more, in. Stretch up, bend back a little more, hold it a little longer. Feel the sensation. Out breath, arms back to the sides, feel the air go out. relax. Close your eyes, try to feel the subtler sensation. Clothing touching the skin, increase heartbeat, pulsation, prickly sensation. Just letting go of your thoughts. Body-centered awareness. Mindfulness of the body. Okay, on the next in-breath, lift up on the balls of the feet while raising the hands over the head in this way. Face the hands toward each other about 5 inches apart and stretch up. The out breath, come back down. Feel the air go out as the arms come down. Use the in-breath to help lift up the body, blowing up a helium balloon. Body rises up, stretch, out. Once more, in, stretch, out breath, feel the air go out as the arms come down. Relax. Close the eyes. Feel the clothing touching the skin. Feel any other sensation, aches or pain. Tingling sensation, itchy sensation. Just let your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind, keeping the sensations of the standing body in the front of the awareness. As if you're looking into a mirror, watching the body standing, feeling its sensation. Okay, next we'll do side bending, using both arms. So on the in-breath, raise both arms up, keep the fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out-breath, bend over your right side as far as you comfortably can. But keep the arms and hands parallel to each other like railroad tracks. In-breath, lift up. And then bend to the other side on the out-breath. Feel the stretch in the side. In-breath, lift up. Again to the right, out-breath. In, out. In. Once more to each side. On the out breath, lower the arms. Relax. Close the eyes, especially in the hands and fingers. Feel increased kind of tingling sensation, life force vibration, the oxygenated blood. Just Just remember standing, 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 present moment of the body. Mindfulness of the posture. And standing, know that you're standing. Okay, next we'll do the squatting or knee bending. On the next in-breath, lift up on the balls of the feet while raising the arms up front for balance. On the out-breath, bend the knees and lower down, balancing on the balls of the feet. And take a deep breath to feel the muscles in the legs pushing the body up. Out. In. Out. In. Out breath, relax. Feel the increased heartbeat, the pulsation. Present moment, body-centered awareness. Okay, now spread your legs and feet apart about 3 feet. Hold the arms out at the sides. We'll do lateral twisting of the spine, twisting from right to left. So breathe in. On the out breath, twist to the right. Keep your eyes focused on the hand going back. Come back to the front on the in breath. And let your feet turn with the body. Twist to the left on the out breath. In breath, the front. Again to the right, out breath. In, out. In. Once more to each side. Come back to the front. Relax. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel the hands and fingers hanging at the sides. Feel the clothing touching the skin. Feel the head balanced on top. the eyes and the socket. Just this body exactly as it is, here and now. Mindfulness of the body. All the sensations you're feeling are basically just vibrations of millions of cells vibrating, interacting with each other, producing all these sensations. Now place the hands together at the chest. On the in-breath, raise the hands over the head. On the out-breath, lower the hands to the chest and bend the knees, lower down. Feel the stretch in the hips and the knees. Try to keep the back upright. In-breath, push up the leg muscles, hands over the head. Second time, try to come down a little further. In. Out. In. The out breath, back to the sides, relax. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel clothing touching the skin. Feel some sensations on your face, the eyes, body-centered awareness. Now bring the feet back together. Stand straight. We'll do head turning from right to left. On the in-breath, turn your head to the right. If you have a stiff neck, just be careful. Look over your right shoulder. On the out-breath, turn the head all the way back to the left. Look over the left shoulder. In-breath back to the right. Concentrate into the neck vertebrae. Imagine feeling them loosening up. Once more to each side. On the in-breath, let the head stop in the middle. Close the eyes. Feel that outline of the body. Okay, we're going to do just one last exercise of backward and forward bending. Just be careful with the back bends. If you have a bad back, just be careful. And turn your palms so they're facing outwards. And touch your little fingers together. On the in-breath, raise the hands up level to your eyes. And begin to spread your arms out to the sides as you bend back on the out-breath. Keep your eyes open. Feel the arch in the spine. And carefully lift up on an in-breath. Keep your arms out at the sides. And on the out-breath, lower the arms and hands down towards the floor. Bend forward. Let the little bones in the spine stretch out. Try to keep the legs straight. Begin lifting up. You can turn the palms outward. In breath, hands up. Out breath, bend back. In breath, lift up. Downward stretch. Out breath. Once more, in, out. In. And third time, try to hold the downward stretch longer. Feel all the sensations. And then carefully lift up. Breathe in, hands to the chest. Out breath, hands to the sides. Feel the whole body vibrating, pulsating, activated life force. The oxygenated blood. Feel as though you're standing on a vibrating machine, feeling all those vibrations from the soles of the feet, the top of the head. Imagine that as a healing energy permeating the body, mind, nervous system, allowing the awareness to rest in the middle, in the present moment. Okay, so now let's mindfully come back to our seats, prepare for the sitting. Just get comfortable in the sitting posture. Try to align the spine and the back of your head. Keep your chin lifted up level with the floor. Just gently close your eyes. Feel your head balanced on top of the neck. Feel your eyes resting in the sockets. And then point down the eyes, or feel the outline of the body. Sense of the head on top, arms at the sides, hands touching together, buttocks pressing the seat, clothing touching the skin, feet tucked underneath, pressing the floor. Just any or all of those body parts, places, create the outline of the sitting body. And begin some deep, slow breathing, cultivating this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath in a second. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to count our breaths from 1 to 10. Develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing. I'll do the counting for you. Just try to follow that with your breathing and concentration, letting go of your thoughts. So on the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Hold the breath a second. And with the contracting out breath, also count to 1. Feel the last bit of air go out. The next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. out 5, in 6, out 6, in 7, out 7, in 8, out 8, in 9, out 9, in 10, out 10. Now as the breath goes out, don't try to control it any longer. Just let the breath come back in under its own power. Continue to feel it. Keep your attention focused in the center of the body, feeling the air either going through the nostrils or expanding and contracting sensations in the abdomen, rib cage, or chest. Just make that the main focus of your mindful concentration. Just knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. You know it by feeling it. Just try to feel the sensations of the clothing rubbing against the skin of your stomach, rib cage, your chest. To help keep the mind alert, awake. Try to notice the brief pauses between the breath. Just letting go of your thoughts. Just allow your thoughts to come and go in the back of the mind. Keep the breathing body in the front of the awareness. You still have lots of thoughts. You can try counting the breaths from 1 to 10 by yourself to gain more concentration. Or just continually remember in, sitting, out, sitting. It's the ongoing, continuous, present moment of the body. Try to notice how each breath is different, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes it's an easy breath, sometimes a difficult breath. It's always changing. Be like a scientist looking down through a microscope, observing an experiment. How this breathing process constantly changing. If any sounds distract the attention, just note it as simply hearing, just sound vibrations coming and going in the background. Stay with the breathing. In sitting, out, sitting, breath by breath, moment by moment. It's cultivating concentration and mindfulness. Concentration is sticking with the breathing. The mindfulness is the alertness for other distractions, pains, wandering thoughts, sleepiness, the hindrances. Practicing both together, mindfulness and concentration. If you catch yourself lost in thoughts, recognize it as lost, lost. Take a deep breath, bring the mind back into the body. Take a few deep, slow breaths to recharge up bloodstream with oxygen. Stay alert, awake in the body. In sitting, out, out, sitting. From time to time, take a few deep, slow breaths. Help stay awake, centered in the body. Opening up to the flow of impermanence. Various sensations arising, vanishing, sounds, thoughts. Try to notice more and subtler sensations, subtler thoughts moving through the back of the mind. If the mind becomes quiet enough, good awareness, things coming and going, and just become like an empty house with nobody home to answer the call, knocking on the doors and windows. But there's a sensitive microphone in the house that knows but doesn't know. Awareness. Silent knowing awareness. of sensations or thoughts arise from the sound. Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya pasati atanibindati dukhi Esamago visuddhiya. All conditioned things of the body, mind, and this world, the five aggregates, are impermanent. They arise only to briefly last, then vanish. When one sees this with the eye of wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with suffering. This is the path to freedom. Thus spoke the Buddha. I invite you to join in finishing the meditation by chanting the word sadhu 3 times slowly. We do that chanting on a long out breath to feel those vibrations in the body and mind. So take a deep breath. Breathe. Breathe. Now place your hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more deep breath. Stretch the head back. Pull the hands against the knees to arch the spine. And let out the breath. The next in-breath, lift the head up. And on the out-breath, press the chin to the top of the chest. To stretch the neck vertebrae. And lift up the chin on an in-breath level. Relax on the out-breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay. So, hope everybody was able to have some moments or minutes or longer of some good concentration, some alert awareness, some insights. Develop a little right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Okay. So next week we might have another topic for our Dhamma discussion. I'll send out that probably the sutra topic next Monday. So you have a few days to read it. So until then, be well, be peaceful, be wise, be mindful. Mindfulness today keeps dukkha away. Don't forget the M&Ms, Stop once an hour for 1 minute. Let go of the neurotic push to the future, to come back to the present moment in the breathing body. Okay?
Thank you,
Namo
Bhante.
Buddhaya.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante. Good night.
You're welcome.